Now let's move on to the planning process of the public relations. Right? You as somebody who wants to train yourself into PR, okay? There should be some kind of standards, in which case you are talking of you need to plan, okay? So there is a process that you need to follow when you are planning. Usually, a typical situation where you need planning is during a crisis situation, okay? This is when you really need PR, when there is a crisis. Give me an example of a crisis that might require PR. Okay? Basically, if there is a fire, for example, right? Or there is water leakage at the hostel. That's a crisis, yes? So you need to plan for that, because in PR, right, what we say is it is impossible not to communicate in PR, okay? We say it is impossible not to communicate, because we always communicate. Do you understand what that means? Huh? If I say it is always impossible not to communicate, what does that mean?
Sometimes it is easy to communicate. It means it's not necessary to communicate everything.
Okay.
It is necessary to tell.
Okay. What it means is when we say it is impossible not to communicate, because we always communicate. Right?
Yes.
Even if you keep quiet, you are also what? Communicating. So it is impossible not to communicate. Because in life, everything you do, you communicate. Right? You know, even as individuals, right? Everything we do, without necessarily voicing, right? We communicate. The way we walk, right? The way we dress, the way we take care of our hair, right? That is a form of communication. That's why we are saying it is not possible not to communicate, because we always communicate. But even an institution like this, without press releases, without the president speaking to the media, the university communicates. Right? There are many ways that the university can communicate. The beauty can communicate something. Right? The signs, the logos, right? The way telephones are answered, for example. Everything communicates something. Right? So what we say in PR is not a matter of making a choice as to what, where, and when to communicate, but how to manage your communication. That's the basis of PR. Right? Because we cannot choose whether or not we want to communicate. We always communicate. But what we can do is to decide how to communicate and whether we choose to manage communication. So in PR is, as we are always communicating through our tone, through our dressing, through our movement, right? In PR, you need to manage that. If you don't manage, then you'll be in problems. So one, we say, you decide how to communicate. Two, you manage. Rather, you choose to manage that kind of communication. And there are hubs. That is where the public relation planning process comes in. Okay? Basically, what I'm saying is, Jesus even kupanda timakati kupanda communication messages. But in PR, you need to manage that because you don't want to send wrong information. So you need to manage communication. Okay? So, what rather? Okay, sorry. As I said, that we cannot avoid not to communicate because we always communicate. And as PR people, we need to manage communication. And managing communication involves planning. Okay? So, public relation planning is all about managing communication. Right? So you need to have a plan in PR. If, for example, there is a crisis, there is fire in the deeds office, that's a crisis because the examination scripts are there. So you need to plan crisis management communication. Are we together?
Yes.
So, a plan basically is not that complicated, right? Usually, a plan defines first the what, right? The what to be done. Just like any other plan. Do you have any plan?
For today or
Well, either for today or for the weekend or for the entire semester.
yeah, for today.
Yes.
After the class, I'm going to in our office.
Yes. So, your plan is the what you have answered. Right? That's your plan. Right? The what is, I'm going to the hostel, I'm going to the salon. Right? The second definition, other than the what to be done, is how that is going to be done. How are you going to do it? How are you going to go to the salon? You see, Kabbalah, isn't it? So you have a plan. What? I want to go to the salon. How? I'll use the Kabbalah. Right? And then, who will do it? Cordial. Okay? And fourthly, when and how often. This might not apply to your situation, okay? But of course, the when you have already said is today, isn't it? How often? It will be just one, or I'll do it once every week. So that's your plan regarding your hair do. Right? So, in a PR, you need to have a plan. What if something happens? How am I going to handle it? Okay? So, in your plan, you answer the what, the when, the how, the where, and the who. You remember the 5 W's and H, right? These must be in your plan. Okay? So, as you are designing your plan, okay, always make sure that your plan, the design, is dedicated by the organization strategic objective. Alright? Basically, when you talk of an institution's strategic objectives, right? These are the core, the main goals that an institution wants to achieve. For example, this institution might have as its strategic goal to produce high caliber professional graduates. Okay? So, what it means for this institution to achieve that, right? There are quite a number of sectors that must contribute towards achieving that strategic objective. Okay? For example, if we are to produce the best journalists, okay? There are quite a number of players, right? So, for example, the library must be up to date to support you, isn't it? When you come to class like this one, a lecturer like myself should be able to support you, isn't it? What about your technological life? Then we have our studio here, isn't it? The computer lab. That should be well equipped to support you. In other words, all these sectors should be working towards supporting you. Hey, who is that? Liz. Are you a student here? Huh?
But she's not in our class.
But you see, she's in class and you're talking to her. Why?
Okay, I'm sorry, the name is very emergency.
Yes, it could be emergency, but in which year?
Yes, sir. You speak English,
Yeah, you need to mature. That's not the approach, okay?
yeah.
You know properly, then you ask. No, excuse me, I would like to talk to her. Then I'll let her out. Okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. Small things in life. They matter, okay? Yeah. What she did, though emergency, it's not acceptable. Right? Yeah. When you go out and start working and start doing like that, then you'll be in problems. So, your plan, as you're planning your PR plan, right? You should align it in such a way that it is also contributing towards the strategic objective of the institution. Okay? So, because PR is there to support institution like the Imakara Nitolinga. It's like, what's your goal in life?
To be not successful minded.
So you need to define success. You can't just say most successful.
I want to be the best presenter
Okay.
in Malawi, and I also want to be the businesswoman.
The best
Business.
lady.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think it will take for you to achieve that goal?
I think.
Like,
Right?
mind. Is it a matter of luck?
It's not about, you can also change your life.
So what is it that
It's a matter of working hard.
a matter of working hard, right? Working hard is one thing. Achieving what you want is another thing. Somebody digging a pit latrine, that's hard work, isn't it? Will that make you the woman you want to be?
No.
But you'll be working hard digging a pit latrine, isn't it? Yeah. So don't just say working hard. Okay. The point I want to raise is what you want to be is your strategic goal. But for you to be there are many things and many players involved. For example, whoever is responsible for your fee and your stay at the hostel, if they just decide to withdraw that, would you achieve what you want to achieve in life? So, whoever is doing that, if it's your parents, they are doing their part. Okay? Whatever they are doing is to make sure that you become the best presenter you want. Right? Likewise, for you to become the person you want, you are in school, isn't it? If you didn't have this institution, if you didn't have people teaching you, whether here or another school, you see that your chances of becoming who you want to be will be very low. So, a lot of players have to contribute towards molding you into the woman you want to be. Likewise, in PR, you contribute towards what the institution you are working for wants to achieve. And that's what I meant when I said that your plan should be dictated by the organization's strategic objective. Right? That is to say, what the organization wants to achieve determines the priority public.
It didn't delete it. We didn't get whatsoever. They never got paid in the hand. They never got storage in the hand of top. Then I clearly received so it is to try writing delete it.
Is your name Mary? Okay. Mary who? Huh? Mary Chitonga. Okay. So, we cannot avoid communicating because we always communicate. Right? So, deciding what to say, how to say it, and in what media messages should be conveyed are not decisions made at the outset of the planning process. Suluga mangoli ufuna okuyambe no process ejayi ne utitayo mweno. You know exactly what to say, right? What messages to say, how to say it, and so on and so forth. No. Sizimabwera patiyambi, right? So, there are a number of steps as you're doing your planning, where it's about, quite a number of steps before you do that. So you finish, maybe this will only come at the 9th step, where you can now decide what messages and how. But there are quite a number of issues which you need, first of all, to complete. Okay? It's like if you're seeing a doctor, right? Before they give you medication, they need to analyze you, isn't it? So they tell you to go to the lab, alright, give specimen, give blood, so the lab people will start to test them. Then upon deciding that, okay, what Mary is suffering is she has got a lot of white blood cells. So it's an infection. Now we can give her antibiotics. That's the level where you can now decide what message should be said, right? However, maybe let me just take you through some of the issues. Here they're talking about define priorities, analyzing fabrics, develop strategies, prepare a statement of goals. All these things are supposed to take place earlier before you decide to say what, when, and how. Right? Regardless of what stage you would have reached, a basic message strategy focus on what is the basic message to be conveyed to your target audience in every message. Okay? So, a good message strategy is one, simple. Okay? Two, adaptable to any medium. You remember we say the challenge with PR, okay? You have many fabrics, okay? Despite having many fabrics, you have different channels, right? So, what we said was, it's not easy to do PR, not because it's difficult, but it's because you have got different fabrics and very many channels to communicate. You remember that? The manera the information you want to share. But the very same information would look different, would be crafted differently if one you want to share through radio. Will it be the same when you are doing for print? Will it be the same if you're doing for TV? Will it be the same if it's online? No. But it is the what? Same message. Right? So, what we are saying is, a basic message strategy focuses on what is basic message to be conveyed. So, you have a basic message to be conveyed to your targeted audience. But this is a basic one, but a good message strategy is simple, but also it must adapt to any medium. Right? Meaning that if you have got the message and you want to share that through radio, it has to be that easy to do it through radio, right? If you want to do it through TV, it has to be easy. That's what we mean by being adaptable to any medium, right? Thirdly, it has to be applicable to all messages in the campaign and very durable, right? So, when you talk of something simple or simplicity, right? This comes in because there is always a temptation to override a message strategy. So you put a lot of information. But what we are saying is make it simple. Right? How do you avoid the temptation to override the message? There are quite a number of ways which I think you can do it on your own. But I talked also about, other than simplicity, I talked about adaptability, where the message should be adaptable for any mode of communication, but also applicability, right? Where functional message strategies must apply to every message. And finally, there was something on durability. Then, in PR planning, you also need to develop a media strategy. Some call it a mix, right? So, basically, when we talk of a media strategy, right? A media strategy and a mix, we say they represent one of the most important areas of PR plan. It's an area of PR plan. However, media strategy sometimes does not get the careful attention that it deserves, unfortunately. Because when you talk of a media strategy, basically what we talk of is the specific media that will be used and how they are mixed. Okay? This is the media strategy. So, you identify a number of media that you want to use to ensure that your message is carried to your public. A mix comes in because, for various reasons, you can decide to mix, either together or at different levels. My terms. We know that you should come up with a media strategy for a graduation of when I graduated. 2025. So you were 30 years, isn't it? Yeah. But the 4th year, they will be graduating perhaps this year or next year. June next year. Right? Now, if you are asked to develop a media strategy for the graduation, what are you going to do? The rules are normal things. When you talk of a media strategy, it deals with the kind of media that will be used to deliver your messages. So basically, it's a matter of putting a message here. Okay. If it's about institutional anti-theory, that's when you start thinking, yes, who is our target? Who is our priority public? Okay? Many times, who could be the priority public? Parents. Let's think of parents. Okay? If the priority public is parents, okay? Ufuna graduate ulilongo university and I'm going to graduate in this university area, right? Now, when I say a media strategy, it's basically the kind of media that you want to use. So you start thinking, for me to reach out to parents, what media should I use?
Both internet, radio, and television.
Why?
Most parents now, they use Facebook than any platform. Like, I can say, my one member can be Facebook than Instagram.
Okay, so you are comparing, in that case, that's all social media you're talking about, right? Because Instagram, Facebook, these are all social media, right? So we are talking of targeting parents who should send their children to university, isn't it? So, if you have to come up with a media strategy, you need to think that, okay, if my target are parents, okay, what media do the parents of today prefer? To listen to watch, or to browse, for example? So you talked about the social media, right? But is it only social media? You can mix it with something else, right? So you can say this message will be shared through social media. This one will be shared through radio, for example, okay? And you decide the frequency, how often. Social media, medium what radio, at what time. This is basically what we mean when we talk of a media strategy and a mix. Okay? However, each of these media before you begin to make strategic decisions about them. And what are these criteria? Right? These criteria are one, attending, right? First, yes, sir.
Yes. Good morning. Once again.
Yes.
After receiving money,
Right. Sanai
Salamati.
you are you are not supposed to be in class.
Yeah, for sure.
We are supposed to teach on
Those
those
people
people.
who yeah, because we wouldn't know where from home. But I'm not counting on top of the grassy yoga. Come as for one hour, I don't feel very exactly of no. If I don't have that, my.
This lady, can you believe this is our second meeting? Eh?
No.
She doesn't attend class.
Why, man? I know why.
I only meet Chimwemwe. Chimwemwe is always here, but he has issues with feet.
Yeah, sure. How? How? You know I'm having a phone.
Yeah, but no, the thing is, I'm always with the Chimwemwe.
Hey.
So how come Chimwemwe? You are never there. I said this class was supposed to take place on Wednesday, but I told the dean that Wednesday is difficult for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I communicated to this guy that we will be meeting on Friday morning, and she's aware of that. A number of times, last week or the past 2 weeks, I've been coming here, talking to you, giving excuses that you're not coming.
So which first week?
Before
the
Prove yourself.
Okay, Mary, let's continue with this. So, as you have identified the media, you need to make a decision about them, but then, as you are choosing the media, okay? Nitakufunza unanena na social media. Unanena we can mix it with what? You are not here. You are also what is that? Unanena tumaporo ama siwa ama ndaya.
We focus on Facebook, public, and television and radio.
But I'm not into Facebook. Okay. So, when you are deciding which media should be there, you need to have criteria. Something that should guide you to decide why should I talk of social media, Facebook, and not the billboards, right? So, the criteria you're supposed to use are one, attending. I'll explain what attending is. Okay? Two, persuasiveness. You know the meaning of persuasiveness, isn't it? Three, credibility. 4, time. And 5, effective reach. Good my son. And when is that?
Next month.
Oh, I thought my son would be. So, as you're developing a media strategy, you need to decide which media you should use. As you are deciding, you need to consider about 5 criteria that must be applicable for you to decide that, okay, I'm going to use social media and not radio, or I'm going to use print and not TV. Okay? So the criteria are: 1, attending, as I said. And when you talk of attending, what is it that we're trying to say? Okay? By attending, we are talking about you reviewing who the public is, so you can identify which media they attend to most. So your argument to say most parents these days are into Facebook, you say that. Okay? Yes. So what you did was to use as a criteria attending. So a lot of parents these days, they use Facebook. So that's one criteria, right? 2, I talked about persuasiveness. Persuasiveness, definitely some media are more persuasive than others, isn't it? For example, the most persuasive media is said to be face-to-face. Am I right? Are you sleeping? So, face-to-face is one of the most persuasive media of delivery. Secondly, would be a presentation to a small group. It is also most persuasive. Then, of course, comes such media as the telephone, okay, email, fax, right? So all these things are more persuasive. Even if you go to mainstream media, you agree with me that the social media and the newspaper or TV, right? Or radio. Okay, if I say print, radio, TV, social media, among the 4, which one is the most persuasive? Serious? No. Be serious. So you believe in social media more than the newspapers, the TVs and the radio? It doesn't matter.
Also, I believe in it because I don't have access to those.
Yeah, that's why it is dangerous and you are easily misled, because social media is not credible. Social media is garbage in, garbage out. It's like a toilet. Anybody can go there. It's a public place. There is no control, no gatekeeping. Okay? I can just decide to post your picture, okay, and put a caption below it and say, look, this is the girl who got married to a rich Nigerian. Her name is Mariam. And everybody will believe that, isn't it? But is that true? Would a mainstream media, say newspaper, TV, would they do that? No, because they are gatekeepers, and that's why they build credibility. They are able to persuade. Okay? So, social media is not Maybe we are talking of persuasiveness here, and I'm talking about credibility. Though the difference might be, to persuade somebody is to convince somebody, isn't it? But persuasion sometimes comes with credibility. Right? Kali omwero inendita okuuzani mujjukira. We not or the opposite. Right? Because of one's credibility. However, here, persuasiveness, they make reference to face-to-face delivery as being more persuasive than the other media. Then there is a component of credibility, which I already said, right? Where some media are more credible than others. Alright? So, when you are choosing, for example, right? When you are choosing a media house to use during your campaign, during your PR planning, you also look into credibility. Are they credible? Okay? Then timing. Proper timing of delivery of message can affect the overall productivity of the campaign. Okay? Here they are saying it may be important to control message delivery down to the hour. Okay? Such media as face-to-face, small group, telephone, they give us greatest control. On the other hand, a news release does not. You know this thing, isn't it? Mugatoka news release and how many stories there are. In fact, it may not even appear in the newspaper. You produce a news release, nobody is interested, nobody is going to cover that. So, we have to score traditional mass media as fairly low on time. In areas when a news source, a PR, you give out a release today, story comes a week later. Okay? Even if you go to a newspaper, have you observed that in a newspaper, you will still see an address which is expired. At the boozer, there is never a week or my newspaper. Then lastly, the last criteria is effective reach. They are saying that it is not enough to deliver a message to a massive number of people. Right? It isn't enough to deliver a message to massive numbers of people. In other words, when you are sending messages, your goal shouldn't be just to reach out to as many people. Right? You remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Then lose your message.
And what do you to reach to many people?
Okay, you are a PR person, so you have to develop a message which you want to share to many people. So I'm part of your public.
Let's say for the budget to become stable, it has to forget.
we say it is a heterogeneous audience. Within that, there are many factors. Munena zaba za evaluation. Mugati audience, amina kwenye mbago mchivumbi ya kulima. Does he understand? Is that your target?
No.
So in PR, we don't talk about audience. We talk about public. Right? So, who is your public?
The media platforms.
Okay, I would rather you say the business people. Because when the culture falls or appreciate, it is the business people that are affected. Alright? So that must be your first priority purpose. Okay? So, regardless of that example, the point I want to make is, when you talk of effective reach, this is the, okay, for example, right? So, you would be saying, okay, tipanga utenga, onena uti, atazisamba macha, ndiso, uti titeteze, matenda a kolera. Right? So, if that message can reach out to all Malawians, okay? But still, what that means is the message is not effective. Because but your goal, your target was for people to start doing what the message is saying. Is your message effective? Persuasion, right? Credibility, and how much you remember, in the social media, sometimes people will say, you remember? So, if on one hand, some are saying on the other, some are saying the effectiveness is also affected. Are you having another class? Are you having another class? No. Me, I supposed to have another class. Let me just ask if the students are here. If they are not here, then I can still give a 30 minutes. Are you okay? Or you want to go to this level? It's okay. And I see a message from my brother. Let me just see what he's saying. Just a reminder.